Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster Tim. So it would be very disingenuous of me not to give a nod to the confluence of influences that have coalesced over the last week. Needless to say, has been mentioned many times already. We're in the midst of a presidential election. We just celebrated Halloween in the midst of COVID, to boot under a blue moon. And then we had a time change. So to say that I feel a bit wobbly and my footing is unsure would be an understatement, but I attribute all of that to there's a lot of change in the air. Hence, I'm immensely grateful for having picked this time to do a speech so that I could be more tranquil amongst the anxiety that I find in my community. As part of this project was meant to look at the leadership assessment, and what it identified is that I'm both an affiliative or collaborative and altruistic leader, which makes perfect sense to me. The point of note for me, however, is that these leadership styles work eminently well and effectively with visionaries, which I will get back to in a moment. So Einstein talks about that everything is energy and that energy cannot be created and or destroyed. So the logical conclusion is that sound and vibration are also energy. Sound comes in many forms. You can chant, you can pray, music, sound bowls, and even our voices. Do you remember a time that you heard your favorite rock and roll song, or you were listening to classical music, or what comes to mind for me is when Obama was singing Amazing Grace and you were just moved beyond what you knew you would be? Have you ever had the honor of having a chorus of people sing your name to you? Feel what that imprint is like on your essence and your being? Our names have a unique signatory vibration that resonates. I know for myself that as I chant and or pray, there is something that transcends the everyday experience of life for myself. When my brother got married, we were singing and praying in Hebrew, and I hear this big booming voice full of joy and nachas next to me, and I'm like, who is that? And I turn to my surprise, and it's my husband, who's a big fellow, not Jewish, and knows no Hebrew, singing his heart out. And I think that speaks to the fact that there is something about music and prayer that touches us that is universally experienced. The earth also has a vibration, and that's known as the Schumann resonance, and it's measured as 7.83 hertz. The impact on this resonant frequency sometimes has to do with the changes in the Earth's magnetic field. Lately, I've been cogitating on what is it about tuning the human biosphere. What is the impact of tuning forks, the harmonics of that, and the influence on our beings and on our own health? I did an experiment to use this as part of my daily routine, and I noticed that my mood was elevated, and the only thing I can attribute it to is the use of the tuning forks. Currently, there isn't a tremendous amount of scientific data to support what the benefits of the harmonics from the tuning forks are on the human body. However, there are many stories of people healing themselves from various ailments and diseases. I have a story to share that seems like it was a lifetime ago. I have mentioned before, I was married to another man in my early 20s, and he was a musician, and his idol was Stevie Wonder. We were in Hollywood on our way to Guitar Center on Sunset Boulevard, and as we walked in, I noticed that there was a brand new Rolls-Royce Silver Spur. I did wonder if somebody important might be inside. We walked in, saw the manager, saw Stevie Wonder, and saw an associate. And I don't even know how to express it. This is so many years ago, I still feel the essence of that. I've never felt anything more powerful than Stevie's presence. The only words I have to share are that it was a high vibration, high frequency that just exuded love. It was truly astonishing. The only other time that I experienced anything remotely close is when I was listening to the Dalai Lama. So, moving on, the human body is mostly made up of water, and it can be affected by various things, age, sex, time of day. But largely the body is more than 65% water. And Masaru Emoto has done experiments where he's spoken to the water various emotions and to see what the crystalline structure would look like. As you can see in my background, I'm assuming it's the correct way, is those that emanated from the heart were beautiful structures, and those that were from darker places were not very aesthetically pleasing. Is the water content of our bodies the conduit for sound to reach to our cells and our souls? Is the mystical nature of sound and the response of our bodies the next frontier in medicine? I am eminently curious about what is going on that transcends us beyond the everyday ordinariness of our lives. Are these repeatable, and can these events be replicated? Can this vibration or energy be leveraged to heal humanity and society? I think the burgeoning field of sound and vibration and tuning forks is in front of the science, and I contend that that is visionary. The leaders that I look to in my life are the ones that are on the cutting edge of whatever field it is that is their expertise, or are visionary. This all makes perfect sense to me in the context of the leadership assessment that I did. Thank you so much for your time and attention, my fellow Toastmasters.